Hi, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Chapter 3 of Bookmarked. Today, we are going to be discussing books written by booktubers or YouTubers or anybody on the internet, really. I am Zoe. You're here on my channel, Read by Zoe, and we also have...
I'm Hailey. I'm from the channel Hailey in Bookland.
And I'm Hannah, and my channel is A Clockwork Reader.
Yeah, so today we're going to start with talking about what we're currently reading. And I am currently reading 3 things, so I guess I'll go first just to get it out of the way. I'm still reading Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I've been reading it for like 2 weeks, and I don't know why it's taking me so long to get through because it's a children's book. It's less than 200 pages, and I read like 1 page. I'm like, okay, that's enough. I think I'm trying to savor it or something. I don't know. I'm also reading The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is, yes, it's the comic book that the new Netflix series is going to be based on. And
So
it's
excited
scary.
for that.
It's scary as holy cannoli. This is just too much for me. I am a weenie. No, I started reading it before bed, and don't do that. Read it in the sunlight at like 2 p.m. And I'm also reading Hocus Pocus, which is our fiction faction book of the month for October. And we have our live show next Sunday. So I have to finish reading this before next Sunday.
This Sunday.
And, oh,
Sunday,
yes.
The 21st.
A couple days from now. And all of us in here are also in fiction faction.
Yes.
So we all have to read that within the next couple days.
Yeah. So I'm reading that as well. I'm listening to the audiobook actually because for some reason that book is sold out everywhere in Canada. I don't know why, but that's a thing. And then I'm also reading Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley-Doyle. I'm reading this for Spookathon. Actually, both books are for Spookathon.
Oh, yeah. When is Spookathon?
This week.
Did it start yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am technically still rereading the books I was reading last week, but I have not been like reading anything new. I've been rereading fan fiction for the past couple days. I don't know. I'm just in a fan fiction mood, so that's what I'm reading. And I have learned that apparently Zoe and Hailey have never read fan fiction.
I have read
Now we can't be friends
Tumblr posts about Fred and Hermione from Harry Potter, and that's it.
Yeah, you got me into those.
I've read 0.
We might do an episode on fan fiction. Wait, which fanfics are you reading? Like specific genre?
Harry Potter. I'm just like in a Harry Potter mood. I watched like some of the movies this weekend, and now I just like can't stop.
Amazing.
Okay. So I guess we're gonna start talking about this very nuanced topic. I think we have a lot to discuss because there's several different aspects of books written by YouTubers that we want to discuss. So I think we're just going to say our piece, like how we feel generally about books written by YouTubers, and then we'll get into more topics. So Hailey, do you want to start?
Okay. So everyone knows that I've been writing a book. If you don't, I'm writing a book. Well, I wrote it. I'm revising it right now. But for me, being a writer has been a lifelong dream, and it came before I ever did YouTube. That was like a side thing that I started. And my big thing with YouTubers writing books, and I'm going to focus mostly on booktubers myself, I don't understand the outcry, the hate whenever a booktuber announces that they've gotten a publishing deal or something. And I guess I see the fact that people think you're cheating because you already have an audience. But the thing is, the only thing that's happening with booktubers is you're doing things in a different order. So if you are an author, you don't have any following, nothing like that, you are going to have to build that following afterwards. For booktubers, 100% it's easier for us to get a book deal. Like 100% it is. And that's because we already have that audience, but we worked to build that audience. So I don't think there's anything wrong with booktubers writing books. I think that it just makes sense when you read a lot that you're going to want to write. And I find that the frustration is it's on both sides. Like how people get so angry is really frustrating as a YouTuber because I'm really happy for my friends when they are able to put their books out there and everything. So I just think it's very sad to see a lot of the community backlash towards that. I'll get more into it later when there's like questions and stuff because I definitely have a lot to say about it.
I mean, I agree with you, Hailey, in that like it's like doing things out of order, because like an author does, after they write a book, someone who's a writer and they want to get a book deal, you do have to like build up an audience. That's like part of marketing your book. But yeah, when a YouTuber writes a book and publishes that book, they already have the audience part covered. And that's why a publisher is more likely to pick that book up, because they don't have to do as much of that marketing work themselves. But yeah, I agree that like there is a lot of outcry afterwards whenever like a YouTuber is like, oh, I'm writing this book. Especially for booktubers, which is the thing that really like confuses me, because like of anyone on YouTube to write a book, it would most likely be the people who read books and talk about books like all the time. Like every booktuber so far that I'm aware of who has like announced that they're writing a book or is like coming out with a book or something is writing fiction. It's not like they're writing like a memoir about their life at like 18. Like
Guys, my next book. How to be a functioning person.
And so I just don't understand like what like the problem is when people like get so upset about that. Like just like let people write books if they want to.
I think that a big part of the backlash is anger at the publishing business, the publishing industry, more than the actual people who are writing the book, although the booktubers or the YouTubers are caught in the crossfire. So they do get a lot of the backlash, but I think it's not ultimately aimed at them, just at how unfair the industry is. But also publishing is a business, so they're going to go after the people who they think are more of a safe investment. They're going to go for the people who have an audience. And also, I think that because it's also a lot about privilege as well too, because especially with BookTube, most of the biggest booktubers are white women who have like enough stability in their lives to sit down and write a book, and they're not usually like working full-time or anything at that time. So there's already privilege with that. So then most of the people who are getting published are white women. So I do understand that, but I feel like just the people writing the book itself, I don't feel like they should get a lot of the backlash because they're going after what they obviously care about, which is books. So like both of you were saying, it's not really surprising that a lot of us want to be authors, because we spend so much of our time reading books, analyzing books, discussing books with fellow readers. Why is it out of the realm of like possibility that we'd want to write one as well? And I feel like books written by YouTubers, especially booktubers, are unfairly judged. I feel like this is something we're going to talk about more later, but I feel like they're put under a microscope immediately, even from before they're even published. People are already speculating, oh, it's going to be terrible because this person didn't go to journalism school or something like that, or this is their first novel, so it's not going to be great. But I feel like you read a lot of authors' debut novels, like John Green's or Sarah Desson's or someone, and they weren't great.
Erin Morgenstern was fantastic, and that was her debut novel, The Night Circus. Like,
well, there's exceptions to every rule, but like,
my point is that like some books like are great. People just like assume that the debut novels are going to be terrible, just because it's their first time writing a book, and you don't know that.
Or they don't give people time to grow. They read their debut and they're like, it's not amazing. It's not The Night Circus or whatever. And so I'm never going to give this person a chance to get better. So again, a very nuanced topic. But
one thing I do want to say too, like what you were talking about with like the privilege of like booktubers, especially how like the majority of like the most popular ones are like white women who have like the time and the means to be able to sit down and write a book. Like, I mean, I completely agree, but I think that's also just a general like issue in publishing, like traditional publishing. Yeah. So like, I don't know why it's like specifically like being applied to like YouTubers writing books sometimes. Like, I feel like people just like take that and they're like, oh, they like, all these people have this privilege. Like, yes, but like that is also what's happening in like traditional publishing too. And there are people who are mad about that. Like, don't get me wrong, but they're not mad in the same way that they're mad at like like different people are mad about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's, again, like a lot of misdirected anger.
Yeah, exactly.
It's at the people writing the book rather than the industry at large. But
I think with YouTube especially, like, I know that if I get a publishing deal, fingers crossed, but if that happens and like I announce it on like the second I have a Goodreads page, it's going to be really bittersweet because I know the same thing is going to happen to me, that happened to Christine, that happened to Sasha. People rate it low automatically because of who you are, because they see like there's almost an element of jealousy there. And it's that thing where, yeah, it's definitely a problem in the traditional publishing industry, but now that there's a face to get mad at, they get mad at you automatically. So it's really sad. Like, it's just sad that I think that I have a problem with it more so in YouTube at large. Like, you have people who are ghost writing their books, and you're telling me that
Zoe
come after like me, like really. Like, I wrote my own book. I worked my butt off to write it. Like, no, major issues with it.
What I think is mostly unfair is publishers going to YouTubers saying,
For
hey,
sure.
do you want to write a book? Not, you already wrote this book, we would like to publish it. But hey, have you... Someone's getting arrested.
Coming for you.
Sorry, guys, I gotta leave early. But I think definitely with like Zoe Sugg and what's her face who did the poetry book?
Gabby Hanna.
Yes. That obviously was like, do you want to write one? Here you go.
Yeah.
And then some of the poems were just like, my publisher is making me write this, and it wasn't even a poem. It's like you're wasting my time.
Well, like, I love Colleen Ballinger, but Miranda Sings has 2 books. You're telling me I cannot be given the chance to write a freaking book when Miranda Sings is like a cut and paste thing?
Miranda Sings has 2.
I did not know that.
Yeah, 2. Like, I really love Colleen, but like, I don't know. There's so many things with that where I just feel like it's unfair to be judging booktubers so much who are really, really passionate about books. And none of us have been like, I was never approached by a publisher who is like, hey, do you want to write a book? Like, because in terms of YouTube, our community is so small. Like, it's tiny. Yeah. So like, no one's going to come to us and ask us to write a book. Like, someone like Jake Paul has a freaking book. Don't be telling me, oh yeah, it comes in, like, teenagers hide it in the store all the time. It's like, it's a mess. So don't be getting mad at me for writing a book when you have people like that who have a book, okay? Like, this is a lifelong dream of mine. And I know that a lot of other booktubers that I've talked to, it's not like, this isn't a business thing for any of us. And I think that's kind of a mindset as well, is people think they're like, oh, if I write a book, I'll be able to make money off of it. Like, no. I want to write a book, and obviously I want to make money off of it, but that's because I want to make a career. I've always
wanted to make money? Excuse me?
Right? So rude. The amount of times I've gotten comments asking to make my book available online, like, just for free. I'm like, yeah, sure. Why don't I just throw away these hours and weeks and months of hard work just so you can read it? Yeah, sure. Ugh.
And
I got lost along the way.
It's okay. But I think it's a lot like we were saying last week as well, that just because one person is getting published doesn't mean no one else is going to get published. Or like one person's success does not mean your failure. And I think that's something that applies to basically all of life. That's something that I like to live by. Support people, especially in the booktube community, because we all love books. So
life is not a competition.
More books.
Publishing is not a competition. Like, just because someone's successful doesn't mean that you can't be.
I know, moving on to everybody's questions. So if you have any questions, please let us know in the chat on, I don't remember which side, this side? I think this might be the side where, I don't know. Let us know any questions, or on Twitter, #bookmarked. And we will answer some of your questions related to YouTubers and books. But I know one that a lot of people asked is, will we review BookTuber books, or what do we think about reviewing books by our friends, or anything around that? I mean, Hailey's already done it. So
So I did read Zenith and I did talk about it, and I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I didn't love it. It was like my expectations going in were really low because everyone was just like beating the crap out of it. But I listened to the audiobook and the audiobook was really entertaining. Now, I've talked to like literally the first time Sasha and I met in person after me having read Zenith was in her hotel room at Book Expo, and she's like, I know you didn't like it, but like she wasn't rude about it at all. And I think that like you have to realize that comes with the territory. So I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I'll come back to it. But
You going off on tangents?
What?
Never.
so out of character, off brand. But I feel like a question that I saw a lot as well was like, what would you think if someone negatively reviewed your book? And that comes with the territory. Like, if either of you guys read my book and you hate it, that's fine. Like, I don't care if you say it. Like, you can bash the crap out of it. That's
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make the most clickbaity video ever. How did this get published? Let's delete her channel.
Amazing. So I really give a lot of kudos to Sasha for that because she is able to like take it. But however, what was the question again?
Reviewing books.
Reviewing, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So when Zenith first came out, there were so many clickbaity things, like so many clickbaity things. So I automatically knew if I put a picture of Zenith in my, because I only talked about it in a reading vlog and a wrap up. If I put like a picture of Zenith, if I put it in the title, I would get a lot of views. But I didn't do that because I think that is so shady. So I don't think that it's wrong to review a booktuber's book. It's wrong to review a friend's book. I just feel like if you see something like what happened with Zenith happening, I feel like it would be wrong to do that clickbaity thing. That makes me uncomfortable. I don't know.
Pile on.
Yeah, that's obviously a really controversial thing that I'm saying because obviously a lot of people did that, but I felt like a lot of people were doing it for the point of clickbait. But my thing with reviewing friends' books is that I'm going to give my honest opinion no matter what. And I think if you aren't comfortable with that, I mean, you're not really ready to be a writer.
Yeah, you're in the wrong industry.
Yeah, because you have to be able to separate the work from the author. An author is not, it's like their work. They're not. It's two separate things. So by bashing a book, I'm not bashing the author. And I never bash a book just for the sake of bashing it. Like, if you're going to have something bad to say about a book, then have like evidence of it. Show your receipts, all that jazz, as the youth say.
But again, it's okay to be critical. That's what we're here. We're reviewers. So like, if you have criticism, don't feel, especially if it's a book written by like one of the bigger booktubers, don't be afraid to actually give criticism. I think as long as it's constructive, maybe, or you're not needlessly bashing it. You actually have like reasons behind it. And if it's honest, go for it. This is what our entire community is about. It's about honesty and expressing your opinion. So I don't think that all of the people who did reviews about Zenith were doing it because they wanted like attention or anything.
For sure. That's not what I was trying to say at all. Clarify that.
Just to clarify. But I think with anything, just don't go into it trying to harm another person just for attention. I mean, I guess that's just me like not wanting to be negative. But I think as long as you're being honest about it, then feel free to criticize or like do a more negative review.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's like something to be said for like, obviously like people doing like a critical review of a book post its release, but like there's a difference between that and like the people who rated the book 1 star before it was even released. Like I think
people did that?
Yeah, a lot of people did that. And that like that's where I think the true problem comes from. It's just like there are people who are like actually haters, and then they like come in and start hating on something, giving it 1 star on Goodreads before it even comes out, like dropping the rating so far and stuff like that. And like that's not constructive in any way. That's not even criticism. That's just straight up hating on something that you don't even know anything about.
It's sabotage. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like for me, in terms of like reviewing friends' books, I'm not like comfortable with publicly doing that. Like I feel like Zenith was like my first experience with that. And like, I didn't initially want to read it because sci-fi is not usually my thing. But then I became like closer friends with Sasha, and I was like, no, I want to read it because I want to support her. But then like all the pressure of people on YouTube constantly just being like, so what's your, I can't wait to hear your honest thoughts. Like, what are your
Yeah,
honest
everyone was
thoughts
expecting all of us to like hate on it for some reason.
God.
Have you
I'm
met
on
me?
page 17. I don't know. Like, what do you want from me? And like, I don't know, I got fed up with people constantly expecting me to say one thing or the other. And I was like, I can't do this. And so like, I stopped reading it. I put it down for so long. And then I was in Boston with Sasha, staying with her for a while. And we started listening to the audiobook while we were driving back from somewhere. So we were just like in the car listening to the audiobook because I wanted to like ask her questions as I like read the book, because I like thought that would be fun. And it was really fun. And I really liked the audiobook. I got to like chapter 12 or 13 or something. And I enjoyed what I had read. But like, I do not feel comfortable like finishing the book and then publicly like doing a single review for it. I'm not saying like if I finish the book, I'm never going to talk about it. Like I will. I talk about all the books I read on my channel. But like I am not comfortable with like, even if I love it, like I'm not really like comfortable with like going online and posting like a whole review for it and just like having people like come at me with their opinions on like what I think. Because I feel like when it comes to that, people get like far too involved in what like whether or not we're being biased. And I don't like need that. Like I will always support my friends for doing what they love, but I don't need like the internet's input on whether or not I'm being honest. Like if that makes sense. Like, Hailey, I'm going to read your book. Like I'm going to read like the early draft of your book that you sent me. Like I'm going to read it. I'm going to support you, but like I am not comfortable just like posting a review personally. Like that's just me.
Please post a rant review.
I will.
I'll comment on it and be like, wow, so true.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would never do an individual review, one, because I don't do many individual reviews to begin with, but I might include it in a wrap-up or something, or maybe like a short Goodreads review. But again, I think no matter how close I am to the person, to like the booktuber, I will be biased either like negatively or positively. Like I might go into it trying to be more critical, and then I will be more critical of it than I need to be. Or I'll be like, oh, I helped like Hailey with like her book and stuff. Like I talked to her about the book and all of that. And so obviously I'll be biased like towards it, like, oh, this is so much better because like I helped a little bit. Yes, your book is all my creation. Obviously. You're welcome. Yeah, I want to be your ghostwriter. Thank you. But I just don't think that, I think no matter what, it will be biased. Because I am in this community. So I don't, it's really difficult. Like I haven't read Zenith, and I don't think I'm going to, just because I'm not that big of a fan of sci-fi, but I'm going to read Christine's because I love YA. I mean, hers is like new adult. I love comedy, romances, all of that, and like there's like time travel or something like that. Yes, I love all of that. I'm going to read it, but I'm going to be biased because I like Christine, and also she's in the community, and I like that genre to begin with. So it's I can't say one answer, and maybe it'll change with more books that come out the way I review it. So I can't say like, oh, I'll never review a book. But
yeah, that's something I agree with. Yeah, like that's something I agree with too. Like right now I'm saying like I am not comfortable like posting a review, and like that is what I'm sticking with. But like I don't know, maybe when like 10 more booktubers come out with books and I've read a bunch more of them, I'm more comfortable with talking about it because it's more of like a commonplace thing, versus right now there's so few booktuber books that like
it's a novelty. It's like, oh, they did that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would obviously always change throughout my time on BookTube.
Yeah. I think it's really uncomfortable for us because like when I read and talked about Zenith, I'd met Sasha once for 5 minutes. But honestly, now, obviously, now I do kind of wish I hadn't read it. Like, I'm going to be 100% honest, because Sasha doesn't have a problem with it at all, but I always feel bad. Like, I feel like it was a really crappy thing that I did. Just saying, and I wasn't like, this is the worst book ever. Like, I just said I thought it could have been better edited. which it 100% could have. And I still, like, I've said that a bunch of times, and I've told her, like, I'm sorry, and she 100% has no issues with it. And I think honestly the key is having constructive criticism, but at the same time it is a really difficult situation for us, just because now, like, that I've met everyone, like, I will read Christine's book because I am, like Zoe, I'm really interested in it, but at the same time, like, I don't know how we'll approach that, because there is that bias there, and it's going to be there for all of us, because it's literally like if you read any of your friends' stuff, or you see anything your friends have created, obviously you're going to be more prone to like it. That's just absolutely natural. But I think it was Insane Reader saying in the comments of the chat, that
hi Caleb, how you doing?
making that bias clear is what's important, and I absolutely agree with that. Like, honesty is what it's built on, so be as honest and upfront as you possibly can. But if you're uncomfortable with reviewing something, I don't think you have to feel obligated to do it just because people want to know your thoughts. I don't think you have to feel like you have to talk about it, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
okay. So there's Nikki at Exo Nikki on Twitter asked, she said, this isn't exactly a question. I noticed that people seem to be more willing to accept books if they've already been writing before starting BookTube, like Hailey. It's weird that people get upset with readers who write as well. What do you think? That's something that I want to discuss as well, because coming from me, I've, like, for so long, especially I think for the entire time that I've been on BookTube so far, I've always said, like, oh, like, I don't know if I'll write a book, like, I don't know. But that's mostly my insecurity at being like, I don't know if I could write a book. So I've been too afraid to, like, call myself a writer, or to, like, say online that, like, one day I would like to write a book. But I think also it's okay to find hobbies later on in life. And I don't think that's something that YouTube or, like, the internet allows, is you changing from your time being on that platform. Like, I'm not the same person as I was when I started my channel. Like, I'm in a very different place in my life. And I think that I've changed, and my hobbies have changed, and my interests have changed, and, like, my reading tastes have changed. So I feel like there definitely is a bias towards people who have said that they're a writer from the beginning. Like Kat, I love Kat. I love watching her writing vlogs and stuff. But I think people are way more willing to accept the fact that she's writing a book because she started her channel doing NaNoWriMo videos. Mm-hmm. And with people like maybe me, for instance, like if I said, like, oh, I'm writing a book or something like that, I don't think it would be accepted in the same way, because maybe that's more of a recent hobby that I've developed. So what do you all think?
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. I think that, like, the culture of YouTube doesn't allow for people to grow as people, because you just view them as, like, what they were from the time you started watching them. And if they're not that thing anymore, then they're not the same person. And yeah, like, we develop hobbies later in life. Like, for me personally, like, I have said that I've thought of like starting to write something. I don't plan on publishing anything. It's not something that will, like, happen anytime soon. But, like, for me personally, like, I hated writing when I was a kid. And, like, as someone who, like, spoke 2 languages and was, like, the only person, like, in her house besides her younger sister, who was 2 years younger than her, so, like, early on that didn't count, who spoke, like, proper English, I hated writing, because at school, like, I felt, like, really confused all the time when it came to writing. And so I didn't like it. I, like, didn't have anyone to edit my papers at school. Like, I always had to do it myself. Like, my parents couldn't help me with that type of stuff. And so, like, I, like, never, ever thought I could be a writer. Like, I never thought I would ever be able to publish anything or write anything, because I just thought I wasn't good enough. And then I went to college and I learned that I actually am really good at writing. I don't know about fiction, but I'm good at writing, like, persuasive papers.
That confidence, good.
But no, I learned that I'm actually good at writing, and I like writing. And then that gave me the confidence to, like, potentially start trying my hand at, like, writing fiction or writing poetry, which is something I've done for a long time, but, like, you know, seriously consider doing it. And and that's just, like, something that I have, like, developed as, like, a person. I've grown, I've changed, I've discovered something new about myself. So if I were to just come out and say, like, yeah, I'm writing a book, I also feel like people would be shocked because I have old videos where I would say I have said like I would never write a book. Like you will never see me publish a book. Like I never ever will do it because I thought I would never do it. I thought it wasn't even something I could possibly consider. But like at this point in my life, it's something I have considered because I think it's something I might like to try one day because I want to see if I can do it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why people get so upset about things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think especially like because we started our channels when my first video is from when I was 18 or something like that, and now I'm 22. And so that's definitely a time in our lives when we change a lot and like going through like mental health stuff and all that too. Like I've learned a lot about myself the last couple of years. So it's why must I be the same person I was when I was 18? I want to be different. I want different like hobbies and all of that. So I think what do you think, Hailey? The writer who's always been a writer.
I think that I totally agree with you all saying that like you're not really allowed to change, which I think is unfair, to say the least, really. I feel like I guess it's different for me because I have been a writer my entire life and this has always been what I've wanted to do, but I guess I feel like I need to reiterate that. Like I feel like I constantly need to remind people like this is something that I wanted before I was ever a YouTuber because I guess in fear of the backlash, to be honest, because I know it's going to happen. And like the dream of being a published author was something that I thought would never be a reality, even though it's something I've wanted my entire life. So I guess the fact that I know, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, but the fact that I know that if I do get a book deal, there is going to be backlash and it's going to be a bittersweet day instead of being something that I'm free to be really excited about. That sucks. Like, it really does suck. I do see that people are more accepting of it, but I still think that there will be backlash. So I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on it.
We'll support you. We'll be there.
Always.
But I'll also give your book already a 1-star review.
Thank you.
You can expect a review from me and Zoe.
You can expect a one from her. Yes. I'm always there. I'm very dependable.
I love it.
To always bring you down. But yeah, I think it's just something that I've noticed recently. And especially like I do watch some AuthorTube videos. Like I've been following AuthorTube since I started writing Project Milkshake 2 years ago. Whoa. But those they start their channel saying that they're a writer. They started off like here I am. I'm a writer. I'm one day going to publish a book. So all of them are very supportive. And when they say they're going to write a new book, it's like, yeah. But then we're here as reviewers, the other side of the publishing industry. And so it's like, oh, you must stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And especially if you're Hannah and I, who are like, we'll never write a book. Oh, no. We're going to be the same people as we were. And then discovering that hobby a little later on. Again, it's like we're trying to weasel our way out of the box or something like that. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we can move on from this topic. If you have any more questions, let us know in the chat and on Twitter with #bookmarked.
It is already 7:30, so we should only probably take a couple more questions. Just saying.
Okay, there you are. Keep keeping me on the clock because
I got you.
Yeah, we talk way too much. Oh my gosh. I think I saw somewhere on Twitter people were asking how you plot, Hailey.
How I plot. Good question.
Yeah, like are you a plotter or are you a planner?
I'm a little bit of a plotter and a pantser. I don't do a very thorough outline. At least with Book of Sisters, like my experience with my contemporary that I'm going to be working on for NaNoWriMo is going to be a little bit different. I'm kind of trying to figure out how much I want to plan that one out, just because it's a contemporary, so I don't need to build a world. But with my fantasy, I had to build the world and everything. So I started off with the Snowflake Method, which you can Google and find it very easily. And then I only did that to a point where I felt like I knew the characters, I knew the story enough to like, I guess, get started with writing. And then I did just literally a point form outline of everything that was going to happen in order. I did cue cards on my wall. Like, I did all of that. And then when I got to the end, I did it again because I had the ending in mind, but I didn't really know how everything was going to happen. So then I did another point form list. So I honestly just do a lot of brainstorming and a lot of point form lists because I have like bits and pieces of ideas here and there, but connecting the dots is really where I need to plan things out.
What are you, Hannah? Are you going to do your poetry NaNoWriMo thing?
Oh, yeah.
I think you should.
Because you
I
texted
think
me
you
and you
should.
said you're doing it, I have to do it too.
That was when I was feeling a very different mindset before I had so many exams, so I might not do NaNoWriMo.
It's fine. I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you don't need me.
I have my poetry journal right here. And I've been trying to write like one every couple days or something, but like my plan for November is I'm low-key participating in NaNoWriMo, so I'm not like really doing anything aside from writing a poem every single day. Like that's my goal, or more than one if I have the inspiration. But yeah, I just wanted to just like, I don't know, practice poetry, write some more, get like motivated, fill this notebook up with stuff. So I'm going to try and do that because I had like a couple of ideas for some novels, but like they're not happening. Zoe knows about these.
They might have.
They're not happening because I have too much other stuff going on with my life right now and too much other stuff to focus on. So I think something simple for NaNoWriMo would be fun for me because I've never participated before and I want to try. So
yeah, I think I might do January Rimo. when I'm because I graduate in December. So yeah, I mean if I pass these classes,
you'll do it.
Wish me luck. No, I'm gonna fail out the final semester. But I think I definitely am like a super planner. Like I had to for my my young adult literature class, our final project was to plan out an entire novel and then write the first 4 chapters of one.
That's an amazing project.
It was so much fun. I was writing like a middle grade fantasy book and I did so much planning. Like I started when we learned about the project on, I think it was our second class. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start writing.
I would do that.
But my plan, my outline, because I was doing a fantasy book, so I was making like a fantasy world. I was already like 20,000 words of just like, let's plan out this entire, and like it was there was magic in it, so I was like, what ingredients would they use for potion making and all that, and I did so much Wikipedia Googling,
iconic,
all of that. So I love world building and making characters and all of that. But then I forget to actually start the writing process. So I think I might try NaNoWriMo or maybe like journaling every day in November or something like that, just to get writing, but something that I don't need to focus too much brain power on because I have many exams,
November's
papers,
a bad
and projects.
month for
Yeah,
it.
no, it's not a great month for me. That's why I'm thinking maybe January.
That's something I don't get. Like, is it a good month for anyone? Like, I'm not even in school right now, and it's just still not a good month.
It still is awful.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's okay for Canadians because you don't have Thanksgiving
in
November.
Christmas
you have
is still
earlier.
coming.
The next month, do you start?
Working retail. Christmas started
true.
like a month ago. It's already Christmas.
Yeah, and that's why I think
time.
NaNoWriMo, which is like in April and July, those are so much better. Those months are so much easier. So I think I definitely want to try it though. I love watching NaNoWriMo vlogs, or just writing vlogs in general. Oh, that was another question that I saw earlier. I can't find it on Twitter, but someone asked it on Twitter, asking, what do you think about booktubers doing writing vlogs? Should they make the writing process public or private, or what do you think about writing vlogs? I love writing vlogs so much. Just like reading vlogs, you feel productive when you're watching them, but you're actually getting nothing done. But it does help with inspiration. And I love seeing how people plot or pants their novel, seeing how they're developing their own story. I love watching cats, and I watch a lot of like author tube videos, and I love Christine's and all of them. So I also think a reason why people started doing writing vlogs. I think Christine was one of the people who popularized them, even though they were happening before. But I think a reason why they developed is because of the other YouTubers who were getting published. It came out of nowhere. Like one day they're just like, oh, I'm having a book that's being published in 6 months or something like that. Here's the cover, here's the title, here's everything all at once. And then that obviously started with like ghostwriting and all of those. So writing vlogs, it shows the process of writing. So it shows like, I actually did write this. This is a legitimate thing that I made myself and there was no ghostwriting or anything. And showing how the process of writing a book is no easier, even if you have like already that platform. Even though getting published might be easier, writing the book is still the same difficult process. So I think
awful.
I think that's what everyone can relate to that, I guess. So
I have a confession.
Ooh.
I have never watched a writing vlog.
Excuse
Really?
me.
They're so
I know, Hailey. I'm
fun.
sorry.
Wow, drag me more.
Oh yeah, you did writing vlogs. I like your desk. It's very nice.
I have a writing update going up on Friday, actually. Go
I just like never watched them. I don't know why. I think it's just because I don't write day to day, so it's just like not something that like interests me. Also, I feel like if I watch a writing vlog, I'm just gonna be like, one, intimidated, and then two, just like and then two, just feel like so guilty for like procrastinating the ideas that I have. And I'm just gonna sit there and be like, wow, like sure, that was kind of inspiring, but also now I just like feel like trash. Because
I feel like a lot of it is struggling. You can see them struggling. So I think that's what makes me be like, oh, you're not perfect. Yeah. I can write a novel. Like, wow, like it makes me think that I can do it.
No, I don't think
it's more achievable.
Yeah, I don't think that people are making it seem easy. I don't think they're making it seem easy. I just think that I know myself, and I know I'll watch it and I'll just like hate myself because I'm not like doing anything.
I know what you're saying though, because I find Kat's to be very intimidating because she's so like organized and meticulous, and I'm like, am I
her graphs,
right?
Like,
I want to watch Kat's because Kat is like funny, and I watch like all of her other videos, but like I can't do the writing vlogs. So I'm like, you're too professional for me. I can't do it.
Yeah, I totally get that. But I think that whether you do writing vlogs or whether you don't is entirely up to you. Like I personally, I like to share a lot of my process. Now, I haven't really shared a lot of what Book of Sisters is about because I'm kind of keeping things vague with that one. But actually,
I know what it's about. I feel so fancy.
You do. But someone was in the comments asking if I could say more of what my contemporary project is about. And I've actually decided that I'm going to reveal what my contemporary project is about, but that is in my writing update on Friday.
Wait, is this someone that I do know about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going
to... We're so in the know. I love it.
You are, yeah. So I will, like, my process with Book of Sisters is going to be different because that was kind of private, except I showed a lot. I just didn't tell you a lot of what I was writing about. But with my contemporary and NaNoWriMo, I think I'm going to do like a really like come alongside me sort of thing where I'll show like everything that's happening because you'll know what the general plot of it is. So like, yeah, you can watch on Friday to see what it's about if you care. If you don't, then just don't.
I've only done 2 writing vlogs, and that was 2 years ago when I was doing Project Milkshake. But I love, like, I completely forgot those vlogs were even up until I keep getting messages which are like, oh, how's Project Milkshake going along? I'm like, I forgot about that. So someone was watching it, I think it was like yesterday or something like that, and they asked me how Project Milkshake was going. So I went back and I watched it. It's amazing, like seeing how excited I was about like a past project. But I do think for me, there is a line, because I do want to write something one day. I definitely do. And I would love to do writing vlogs because I just like to share. And a lot of that is keeping memories for later. Like I can go back and watch 2 years ago. But I think there's a line for me between like sharing and then oversharing and kind of taking all the fun out of it. And like, So I think that's...
Yeah, no, for me, like personally, like if I ever do decide to write something and decide to publish something, my vlogs will not start until the book is going to be published, because I know myself and I know that like if I start doing that, the pressure will get to me and then I just like, I'll give up, like I'll quit or something halfway through and it just like won't happen. So like the book has
Yeah, they either can be accountability or it can be like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah. For me,
and
it's
like not even like
accountability.
picked up by a publisher necessarily, just like it has to be finished.
Mm.
Like that's it. Like even if I don't want it published, it has
Yeah.
to be finished. Like once
Yeah.
I
Just
finish
the
something,
first
then I can
draft.
be- Yeah.
I think I would need to actually have started writing,
True.
not just planning. Wow. But I
Also,
think probably like halfway through.
it is 7:45.
Oh.
But I want to keep talking.
I mean, you
I'm
can.
talking. No, it's okay. Someone was asking, one last question, like was asking if we were to write something, what would we write? Or are we writing something, anything like that?
Mhm.
I would love to write either a middle grade fantasy / horror or like a YA new adult, like contemporary romance, something like that. So 2 very different genres, but I would love to do that. And then Hannah.
So I have 3 things. One is obviously just poetry. And it's just like personal stuff, just like whatever poetry comes to my head. And then I have 2 ideas. One is a fantasy, which is the one that I've worked on the most. And by that, I mean, I have 1 scene. So like,
Yeah.
don't keep your hopes up. And then the other idea I have is a contemporary that's very like autobiographical.
Yeah, that's my contemporary.
I feel like everyone's is a little bit.
Yeah,
Honestly.
everybody like it's yeah.
Am I
So,
supposed to say what
Hailey,
I'm writing?
what are your
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, just like
okay. Book of Sisters is a fantasy.
Really? I
Obviously.
did not know.
No, now you know.
Oh, okay.
Well, you haven't watched the writing vlog, so how would you know?
Oh, Jagger.
And then I obviously have my contemporary project, and all the other ideas that I have are contemporary. I never thought I would ever write a fantasy, so like wild that the first thing that I write is fantasy. I do have plans for sequels to Book of Sisters, but they're not like super concrete yet. So everything that I have that's concrete is a contemporary novel. So I can see myself going forward, other than Book of Sisters, doing contemporary.
Ooh, so one day you might see our names
In
on
the
a
bookstore.
shelf. Maybe not in a bookstore, but
Imagine-
like on a shelf. We might
Imagine if we all had books published and they were all on a shelf next to each
So
other.
cute.
my shelf because I will just print off the PDFs because aren't we getting published, Hannah? Come on, let's be
True.
real.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to write something one day. Maybe it won't get published, but like that's the dream. And so to wrap everything up we've said today, I feel like we all feel that it should not be a big mystery that a lot of booktubers want to write books. So and then publishing, it's a very flawed industry, and that's where a lot of the criticisms do come from. Be honest with your reviews about a book written by anybody, from a YouTuber, from a friend, anybody. Just be, you don't have to be so positive about everything, but don't just hate on it for the sake of hating on it. I mean, if you want to, you can, but personally would not advise that. What else did we talk about?
I don't know, a lot.
There's so many things.
I feel like that was good.
Yeah.
We talked about like writing processes, Hailey's writing process.
Yeah.
And our struggle. That's just how we're going to sum up everything. How Hailey's doing well, and
Oh my
and
God.
Hannah and
we're
I are
suffering.
struggling.
Hailey's dying.
Also, this Afghan was crocheted by my grandma. Some people are asking.
Amazing.
Oh, I thought you just like wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Oh,
also,
I mean, yes. There you go. Our booktuber of the week. It is Olivia from I Live You for Books. I'm going to include her link down below. I'm also going to tweet it out from the Bookmarked Twitter. So definitely go follow her. She's amazing at defacing books in the most beautiful artistic way. Also, she did do a similar video, similar discussion video about books by booktubers, which kind of inspired me to do this, although it's not exactly the same. But amazing, wonderful. Also, next week, our episode will be on Hailey's channel, and we're going to talk about real readers and what that is, and our thoughts.
Sorry, I was distracted by blocking someone in the
No, me
comments.
too. That's what I was.
That's
Oh,
what
wow.
I was doing. Oh my god.
I
But
don't
yes,
pay attention. Okay.
I just saw everything that was happening. Wow. Yeah, so the next episode's on my channel.
And
Yeah.
yeah, this will stay on this channel. The video
This will stay on this
yeah.
channel.
Yes.
And I have included the playlist to all episodes down below if you want to get caught up with our past videos. You don't have to watch all of them in order. It's not a TV show or anything. But if you're interested in more of our discussions, check down below. And thank you for asking questions and joining us today. I had a lot of fun. We talked about many things and got on many tangents.
Classic.
Nothing
Any last
new.
words before we
Bye.
die?
Wow.
Okay.
I just said that very ominously, so you have any thoughts?
No.
Not really. Just thank you guys for being here.
Yeah.
It's fun to talk with you all and
Yes.
chat with you all. And we will do a live show soon. I don't know when. We haven't decided exactly, with like guests eventually.
Oh yeah, when we're more comfortable.
Yeah, we're getting our footing right now by
Yeah.
ourselves because
It's been like
we're a mess.
three episodes. We need some time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're doing.
No.
But thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic day. I love you guys so much. Thanks for chatting with us and letting us get our feelings out about issues. I hope you're all doing well with your reading and in your lives, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. That's how I end
Next
my
week.
videos. Next week. That's it.